Welcome back to the UKLC, where we have XL taking on Fnatic, and as the scoreboard behind me would tell you, XL have taken the first game. Now, Fnatic had the head-to-head record, 3-1 coming into this series, but a Sona Taric bot lane, really kind of like Exodia-like teamfight composition.
Do you know what I did in my off time?
What do you do in your off time?
I read a Frostmancy guide on the Sona carry bot lane, and some opponent posted some really useful statistics. So obviously, I mean, it's supposed to win lane. You know, I talked to my friends about this. It is supposed to come out ahead in lane.
Yeah.
That is one of the reasons you pick it. But the person analyzed a lot of the win rates for Sona, and apparently, the reason they pick a bot lane is she actually impacts the team as much as an AD carry would late in the game. Just because the damage, it's not the same sustained single target damage.
But you got huge burst damage.
Yeah, and you have pretty good AoE, but crucially, it's the utility you provide. And I think that's what we saw coming out from Inax. I mean, we saw that in the game, but I had a look at the guide, and it very nicely went through all these details. So I just thought I'd drop that little knowledge bomb on you. It obviously
it worked basically.
Yeah, the late game was a massive aspect, and we saw that. We saw that the late game really came in huge. I mean, crucially, I think XL played it really well, and I think Fnatic's comp didn't have the right protection for their carries, but I think it shows that this Taric Sona lane isn't just win lane by cheese. It offers something more. And we do have two little bits of information coming through. So XL now have side selection.
They do.
They are on the red side they've chosen. So Fnatic chose red side game 1. XL choose it game 2. And crucially, there's a substitution. Fnatic have subbed out Prosper for Targamas, which is a recent sub they've added to their roster. So going to change things up. Targamas has experience playing in the Spanish scene.
The Giants roster over in the Spanish scene.
Playing Giants. And
did he play with Deadly then at some point, I'm guessing?
I believe he did, yeah. And then he will be now coming in. They very quickly banned away the Taric. You know, we did predict it would happen, so they're not going to face against that Taric Sona bot lane again. But the question you got to ask is, they brought Targamas in, and I think the reason it isn't so much on a... I think what it'll be is that they have him sitting backstage watching the game, and then he comes in this next game. It's similar to how SKT used to sub in junglers. Yeah. In which the other one would watch and he'd analyze what can I contribute here in the next game. They now have Targamas able to offer that. So he's been able to sit back with Jandro, the coach, look over that entire last game and ask, right, why did we lose this? Yes. So I think that's a big reason for substitution. I don't think the last game was particularly on Prosper. I think he was the reason they lost.
I actually think Prosper played pretty well in that game. You know, a lot of the Unbreakables really stopped those mid-game team fights, especially with Sendo. But we're waiting to see what Targamas can offer here. Maybe he'll be on a similar role to Prosper. Maybe it's a shot calling thing. Maybe Prosper shut down a little bit in terms of speed.
I mean,
we don't know,
I've spoken to Prosper, and he says on this roster he's not really the primary shot caller. It's Dan.
Oh, okay.
Which is probably a big reason why they don't do the same as SKT with the sub out jungler.
Yeah.
They sub out support because now they have someone who's, again, he's watched it from our point of view, where he sees everything happen in the game, and he can analyze exactly what happened and where things went wrong. So
I can offer his opinion going into this game as well.
Absolutely, and he's been able to sit with the coach, and the coach has just filled him in exactly what needed to happen in the next game for it to go well. And it hasn't changed the draft drastically, because we saw the first pick from Fnatic was this Braum in the last draft. It is again here, so fairly straightforward. They haven't changed too much there. And quickly, XL go for that Jinx Tahm Kench, and this is something they have played before.
Yeah, they have.
Didn't go quite as well, but the big thing is you have all the AoE from the Jinx, all the damage from that carry, and then crucially, the Tahm Kench means it's very difficult to apply any pressure, especially when you have a Braum. Braum's not got the greatest engage anyway. At least if it's something like an Alistar, you can get a combo on both of them. But the Braum, you're very limited in how much you can pressure that Jinx. So looking for Inax to become more of an AD carry in this game than he was last time. Yeah,
and I think he will have more of a traditional role. Also means he'll scale in a similar way to Vayne in terms of, you know, actual damage output in the later stages of the game. Jinx does a lot of good damage. He has a lot of extended range over the Vayne as well.
Yeah, if you can protect her, her range comes in huge. We see the Olaf now going over to Dan, so him getting his hands on that one again.
Yeah.
Well, not again, because last game Taxa stole it away, and then it's going to be up to Fnatic to see what and they go for the Sivir. So it's already a lot of movement speed in this composition, which I like. So you have the movement speed to tie in with the Olaf. Olaf Sivir, to me, just screams you run them down. And that's why it works so well against the Tahm Kench, because Tahm Kench is very good at stopping something like a Thresh hook.
Yes.
But against a whole team comp running at you, like, you can eat the Jinx, but if you can't outrun the team composition, you're still going to fall apart. So I think it's a good draft so far. And now it comes down to what XL want to pick on the third pick before they go. They could take the jungler, would be the safe one. And the Sejuani has been left open. It was banned away in the first draft from Taxa, and he will pick it up again. So won't have quite as much early pressure as the Olaf, but it's very easy to escape the Olaf. And later on, it's going to offer a lot in terms of that CC. And if you throw a good Glacial Prison, it can really off a disengage because the AoE slow is pretty clutch as well.
Yeah, and if Olaf's running you down, you just put it behind the Olaf, try and zone the team away.
I
So
mean, even
Olaf
if you just throw
isolated.
at the Olaf and he has to ult,
Yeah.
it just, the AoE slows everyone coming.
Sure, sure. And already looking at the bot lanes, I'm getting the impression that we're going to see quite a chill bot lane here. I mean, Civ is not going to be the kind of bot laner that's going to try and stamp her mark on the lane. Jinx in the early level is also going to be pretty chilled out.
Yeah.
Looks like we might have a kind of farm-centric bot lane here.
Quite a slow one. It was fairly farm-centric last game as well, considering they had the Taric Sonar. So might show that his lane is still pretty on point, but it just felt like the late game pressure was over the side of XL. And we're seeing a lot of bans coming here. Fnatic targeting that Yorick, so Sendo won't be able to split push and add another win condition to that composition. And then they're targeting the Akali and that Lissandra away from Magifelix. That means that Corki's still available if he wants to go for it.
Yeah, XL could pick it up as a safe-ish pick.
I was talking more as Magifelix, is his Corki, because he's been very much willing to pick it in almost any situation. And now it's a question: who do you want to blind? Because if you blind Exile here, then you can't pressure what Magifelix picks. But if you blind Sendo, you risk Shikari picking something that's going to work really well into it. And to me, if I could pick anything for Shikari here, I think a Kennen would go beautifully with that team composition.
Yeah, really good flank potential. You lock everybody up. You can get big ricochets off during that team fight.
So if you pick something for Sendo here that he can pick the Kennen into confidently, that's where it could get rough. And the Yasuo comes in, and that's why I like this, because it's a flex.
It can flex, yeah.
It's probably going to be mid, but because it's a flex, it means that Fnatic can't confidently pick either lane. And it does mean that if Magifelix goes to that Corki in the mid lane, he once again is going to have quite a bit of pressure on him from that Yasuo. And crucially, one combo which is so good is the Sejuani Yasuo, because you dash in, you can easily set up that passive to stun, and Magifelix will pick up that Corki again, so offers a lot of late game damage, and there's so much backline DPS in this comp. And then
we wait for it to get locked in, but it looks like what they're thinking about. And I think in your mind, Kennen was the perfect addition to this particular comp, because it's also quite difficult to counter properly in the top lane. Like, there are very few things that truly counter Kennen.
It's also because it's got such good AoE. There's not the Tahm Kench isn't a great answer, because, like I said, you can throw the Sejuani ult one way, but if the Kennen's coming from the other side, you're fairly limited. And if Kennen manages to stun both the Tahm Kench and the Jinx, you can't eat the Jinx. But assuming Kasing preempts it and does eat the Jinx, you're still stuck in that slice and maelstrom, so it's never a good situation. And
Sendu goes for the Nasus here. I'm assuming an Emax Nasus again from Sendo in the top side of the map.
It's very interesting that he's constantly going for this, because we saw it as a counter in some ways for Yorick, but he's still been willing to pick it, even in a game where he's not up against Yorick.
Well, it's got great sustain. Like, Nasus naturally has really good sustain.
You can farm it pretty effectively, and in those team fights,
you can slow Kennen on the side.
You're a pretty big front line, because for a lot of tanks, if you have a composition like this, or like this, because on the other side, you can just run through tanks. You just ignore them. You just go past them. If they don't have CC to offer, you just breeze straight through them. And even if they do, you can often get past them as well.
But Nasus isn't a tank that you can ignore.
Yes, you can't go in a melee range of Nasus. You just can't. So if he stands there, you have to DPS him down, and that buys a lot of time. So, you know, I can kind of understand it to some degree.
The wither on Kennen on a flank is good as well.
Yes, but to be honest, I feel like if Kennen's got Flash and Proto Belt, the wither's not really going to make any difference. But, I mean, it comes down to the execution. He feels confident, and the fact that Fnatic banned it away last game, it does tell me that he's very willing to play it, and he's seen quite a bit of success. So he's confident in this pick. It does mean that the composition from XL is pretty AD focused, but there isn't really any massive tanks on the side of Fnatic that's going to be a problem for.
No, not many of them are going to build huge armor values. Maybe Dan, but then he's Olaf, and he's going to fall off.
He's not super relevant. So this is going to be a pretty volatile one. We're seeing the Corki come out again from Magifelix. I feel like the Yasuo won't be able to pressure as much as the Zed could.
No. You have to commit much harder as a Yasuo to get the damage down.
But can cause some problems just with the fact that he has the wind wall, and also the big thing is that later on he's still going to be a menace in those team fights. The one thing I sort of have a concern for is there's no setup for the Yasuo, other than the Sejuani knockup, which is it's very hard to hit more than 1 or 2 people with that, and it's very short range. There's no great setup. There's no Alistair. There's no like top lane, I know Sion who could get a big knockup. So I feel like that's going to limit the effectiveness of XL, which is why they might end up going towards a 1-3-1 sort of play style, because you have the Jinx and the Tahm Kench. Jinx is a great wave clear.
Yeah.
As far as AD carries go, as
soon as she gets Infinity Edge and another crit item, bam,
Infinity Edge and Runans, you're sorted. And then the Tahm Kench makes it very hard to dive. So then you can just have the Yasuo and the Nasus in the side lane. And the thing is, Shikari has consistently gone for this AP Kennen, which isn't as good in the side lane. I'm not saying it's wrong, I think it's the right choice. But it does mean that the Nasus will eventually just be able to shrug him off. When you have Adaptive Helm, Triforce, I mean, he goes Gauntlet as a tendency, so he might go towards that, but it just feels like the cannon tickles you. So I think it's going to be difficult in that regard for them to handle this 1-3-1 from XL.
So how do you think Fnatic do win then?
Team fights.
Team fights?
I think their team fights are so excellent. And I said it's going to be hard to dive with Tom Kench, but if you manage to get the cannon, like let's say they're defending the mid-out tower, if you get the cannon behind that, you could just crush them. Like you just absolutely run them down. You have the Sivir, you have the Olaf, you have the Corki and the Sivir for the DPS. It's very difficult for them to stop a team fight from happening. I think crucially the difference between this composition and last game's composition, their engage is so easy to execute. It's so easy, you just press R and Sivir, and that's why people go towards these comps. And that's why I like this draft coming into game 2, being a game down, is they're picking something that's easy to execute, and it's not going to take a massive amount of skill. Essentially, it's a not complete mirror, but similar to the composition that XL had in game 1, and then I just have so much movement speed, you can just run the other team down.
So, we're waiting to jump into this second game of the semi-final here, and I think ease of execution is something that Dan talked about a little bit, but Fnatic have definitely got the ease of execution when it comes to this composition. XL have got more moving parts to work with.
Yep.
They've got a 1-3-1, the team fight is a little bit scrappier, doesn't make it is easy to work with when they get into the full-on 5v5 scenarios. But XL have shown they can make 1-3-1s work, and we're going to jump on to the Summoner's Rift for the second game of the series here. XL versus Fnatic. Will XL win and give themselves a shot at the EU Masters? Will Fnatic take that spot? We'll have to see.
This is the second, and it could be the last game of this series. Crucially, it all comes down to whether Fnatic can bounce back from that first game. They had a good early game.
Oh, look at the top side of the map right now. Shikari is going to be forced to skill his E, and just by putting everybody on the top side of the map, he's taken a sort of an awkward skill to start the lane phase off with versus this Nasus.
I mean, I think into a Nasus, honestly, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's normally quite bad in the bot lane if you go like for example, if a Caitlyn goes in net, number one, it's a bit unfortunate. But the cannon, he's still got his auto attacks. It's not like he didn't skill them. So it's not great, but it's not actually that bad. So, but still, XL pushing a slight advantage. And you see the Comet coming out from Sendo. So look into... I mean, I think it's a good decision because I think we went Grasp last time. Grasp is pretty poor into a Kennen because you're never going to get close enough to use it. So he's going for that trading power.
Looks like... Oh, carry on.
I like to see the cleanse from Kissing as well. When there's so much CC coming out from Fnatic.
I think you have to take cleanse versus Braum if you're playing Tahm Kench most of the time,
Braum
right?
and Kennen. Because if Kennen comes in and ults, you can just cleanse it and eat the Jinx. We saw how, like, last time Shikari got an MVP was on that Kennen. And there was a good reason for it. Yeah,
he's a very, very good Kennen player. Actually, NX and Kissing a little bit late to the lane here as they helped Taxa out with that initial pickup. And you can see Dan now going straight for that River Scuttler. No ward to see him as it just timed out.
Yeah, just good call. Just timed out. So they won't see where he is. And Dan actually swoop in, so he is aware he's not on vision.
By the way, you can see the poll on the screen. Hashtag Fnatic, hashtag XL. Looks like XL are currently in the lead with 69%.
Pretty good from XL. And it's so unsurprising. They won game 1. So you'd expect them to come ahead in game 2. Dan going mid. Crucial point where XL doesn't have his wind wall. So if he had overstayed in that trade, could have been in a bit of trouble, but leaves a minion to dash back out to.
Yeah.
And that is the crucial thing you have to do as Yasuo. You have to have your escape route.
He's trying to go a little bit aggressive there. Has that barrier back up and won't take too much damage back in turn from Magi Felix. See, Matty and Targamas now, not Prosver. Prosver being subbed out in that last game. Matty and Targamas looking to be aggressive here versus NX and Kissing.
So we have to look at what Fnatic start to do as a team. Because crucially, particularly on Braum, I don't think there were any issues with Prosver's Braum. I don't think there's anything that suggested like, oh, we need to sub out, we need someone else to play Braum in this game. I think you have to think about what Fnatic start to do as a team, which is different from last game. Because it felt like there was a few times that Matty was out of position. It felt like they weren't necessarily taking the right team fights. I'm hoping that Targamas, having watched the last game from a spectator's point of view, is going to be able to offer input that means they can really make this a series.
XL here just using those minions to back out again. He's taking a little bit of damage, but has got that wind wall, so very, very happy to go in against Magi Felix in these scenarios.
Misses so much CS there. That's so sad. He just missed all 3 of those melee minions.
Oh, Magi Felix, is he tilted?
I think it's just Corki's not too... The problem is he used his Gatling gun to trade.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best tools for a Corki to CS with.
Yeah.
Because you can get the caster minions down to just enough for one auto to kill them after the tower hit. Or you can very easily trim the health of the melee minions.
Yeah.
So. See a quick recall from Exile, picking up an extra Doran's Blade on those boots.
He just wants to be make those trades worth it when he goes in,
Yep.
especially like if he commits with a double Doran's Blade, he wants to sort of put pressure.
And that's the thing is, you compare items, he has so much more combat power than Magifelix because he has both those Dorans in the boots. Magifelix has nothing. Corrupting Potion doesn't give you any stats, and when it's out of stacks, it's essentially useless. So he will back off and get that longsword and Ruby Crystal help. But in terms of gold efficiency, double Dorans gives you a lot more than Ruby Crystal longsword will do.
Dan coming in here. They do have the ability to eat Kasing, and he will.
Eat Inox.
Yeah. King Kasing gets the eat. And actually, you see a rotation coming down. I don't think there's going to be a commit coming out from Taxa and Exile here. They're just going to back off.
It does mean they can get control of that area, though, get some wards in place. And you can see the red side jungle is pretty well lit up for Exile. They will see Dana when he goes off these Krogs in which direction he's going to go.
Sentu just getting a basic attack onto Shikari there.
There's very little damage, and that's the thing, he is going that EMAX once again. The trading power is in that ranged ability, which means you can hold your own to some degree against the cannon, but he's not exactly having a great time of it. He's 10 CS down, he's down in HP with them both having used their teleports. Not too fun, but you expect that. You don't pick Nasus for a fun laning phase. No,
it will get better as the levels come in and the game goes on. Get a few more points into your queue to be able to stack that up, and that becomes a big life sustain tool for Nasus in this laning phase.
Absolutely.
Exile here. I mean, Exile's doing great. He's a significant amount of CS up on his counterpart, and actually they can see Dan, who's rotated into the red side jungle, up towards the top side of the map. Level 6 for Shikari.
Yeah, smart by Dan. He knew he'd been spotted out. And so he actually went and hid in an area where he could recall because there was no way he was going to get back through the river. Exile and Taxa, we're hunting for him. And like I said, this 2v2 mid-jungle are so strong. The Yasuo dashes onto you, and it's very easy to stack up that passive.
Exile going into Magifelix here. Don't think he's going to commit to the full engage. He just wants to get a couple of those hits off and then trade with the Windwall, which he does.
Just put the fear of the Yasuo into him.
Kasing's up on the top side of the map here. They're going to try and catch out Dan, who does not have his ultimate right now. He's going to flash over the wall. Maybe the first blood goes over to the tongue, and Kasing picks up the kill.
A lot of damage coming out from Taxa there. They managed to take out Dan, who was just caught sleeping, and Taxa gets revenge.
It's revenge. That's what I was thinking. Revenge for that invade in game 1.
Yep, and good move from Kasing to head up here. And crucially, has used a spellbook to get teleport, and you can see he's using that bot lane. Not going to miss any time on the bot side with Inax. So a good move, essentially an unpunished roam.
Yep, and he's going to have that cleanse back up very, very shortly too, because obviously with Spellbook works that way.
Spellbook, pretty good.
Pretty good.
And I like that he's gone towards that because, as we said, this is going to be a fairly non-impact lane. Guardian, obviously, there's a lot of strengths to it in terms of the shielding it offers you. You can see Target Master's got it. But Kasing said, look, we're not really going to be looking for kills in this bot lane.
Nope.
We're not really going to be finding them. I'm going to pick something that helps me impact the map more. Because if you roam mid and you have an extra ignite that you would normally have, it can actually really help out. Or if you have that TP, you can make a big impact with that. And that's the big thing about this Tahm Kench, is that once you have that ult, you can impact the map a lot more than the Braum can.
So the Dragon is definitely being considered here, as Exile's just getting so much work done. They must know that Dan is in his red side jungle, though, as Magifelix gets knocked up. He's going to go into it. Exile jumps in. Is this too much? He jumps through. He's going to get focused through by Dan, and that, Exile, Lee Sin syndrome with the Yasuo.
Yeah, and crucially, the cleanse from Magifelix is what stopped that ignite damage. So it might look like he was going to go down, but the cleanse meant that burn wasn't there, wasn't available, and Exile just overcommits. And he had such a big advantage there by forcing Magifelix to miss all that CS.
He didn't need to go in.
Kind of threw it away by going in. I think he didn't respect the cleanse.
They saw Dan on the red side jungle as well. They saw him move into that red side jungle.
I mean, crucially, you didn't respect the cleanse because in that situation, if Magifelix had barrier, he probably would have died.
Yeah.
But the fact he had cleanse, and he knows the only CC you can cleanse from the Yasuo, because he has no CC, the only thing you can cleanse is the ignite. So as soon as he ignites, you cleanse, that damage is gone, and he's able to get out. And Exile burns both summoners just to die.
I know, poor Exile. Magifelix has lost his summoners as well now, though. And we are still at a solid place for the Yasuo. He's got double Dorans, double attack speed sword thing, dagger. And then also Berserker Greaves. He's actually going to try and go onto Magifelix here, maybe force him to burn the package if he can. Doesn't have that ultimate backup though, so not really going to get much from landing that tornado. And actually you can see Fnatic have started up this dragon. XL are going to respond to this though, as Taxa is there. Corki package comes straight through. Can they commit to this though? This is a little bit of an awkward area for Dan as Taxa goes in onto Targamas. In the outside though, Kasing taking a lot of damage. Here comes XL as well. They do get the knockup. That's going to be an immediate out for Taxa and Kasing. XL now stuck in the middle of the fight with no summoners. He is going to be the target as Matty picks up the kill there. Inax does not have the damage for his ultimate. He has to go in, try to get some damage down. He's trying to get the kill onto Matty. Is he going to get the reset? He gets locked up. This is disaster for XL.
Oh, and Inax misplayed so hard there. I think the attack move backfired. I hope we get a replay of that. But crucially, he needed one more auto to kill Matty. He put an auto attack into the wrong target, and that could have gone badly for Fnatic. Magic Felix went into the pit, had no flash, no Valkyrie to get out, but they came out ahead in the team fight. XL didn't have the damage, and like I said, they didn't have the setup for the Yasuo, so it took them such a long time before the ult could get used.
Well, actually, Taxa committed so early on that he took so much damage.
It looked like they were just trying to look for the... It was miscoordination.
Yeah, it was definitely miscoordination. Let's take a look at that again, Dan.
Yeah, so we will look over it, and Taxa goes in very early and uses all of his CC, and Inax tries to get damage on Magic Felix, doesn't find enough, and now Taxa is basically dead at this point. Kasing's low as well, so he has to jump out. Great Boomerang Blade finishes him off, and then, crucially, the ult comes in from XL, but it's not off. And now watch Inax. So auto, and that auto hits Targamas. That first auto after he flashed hit Targamas, and that was the difference between Matty surviving. So a mechanical misplay there. I still think he would have gone down.
He would have gone down for sure.
But he would have traded a lot more favorably. So, I mean, Inax has to be kicking himself, and that's what you get for playing a Soda game. Your mechanics get a bit rusty.
Yeah, but also you're in a situation where you could see the disadvantage that XL have when they are not using a setup for the Yasuo.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have one is the issue. And they don't have that 1-3-1. And the thing is, neither top laner had TP, but I would much rather have a Kennen TP in than Emax, Spectre's Cal, Nasus.
Yeah. There's actually going to be a commit. Oh, that's a big attempt at a knock-up here. They do get on to Magic Felix, who goes down initially. XL still there. He gets eaten up with the ultimate from Shikari coming down, and suddenly XL are turning things around. That is exactly what you talked about, Dan. The eat from Kasing.
Comes in huge, and crucially, Matty was not there for that team fight. So XL come up big there. They bring the numbers.
And they're going to unleash the Rift Herald.
And they're just going to use that straight away. They should be able to get a lot of damage on this mid tower. In fact, with 4 members, the Civ is going to try and wave clear, but they'll definitely get at least 2 plates.
Wow, Sibir is not at that stage of the game where she can wave clear.
The wind wall's just going to stop it, so they might just be able to get this first tower here, which is a pretty big advantage for XL. Because the thing is, if this composition gets ahead, where they're able to 1-3-1, it's going to be so hard to deal with. Because Fnatic, they need to find those 5v5s to be successful. And if you commit a TP to go for a flank from Shikari, the worry is that Sendo just destroys your base.
What happened there? I think Kasing was trying to ult and Inax just didn't get in.
Yeah, I think he just was like, nah.
I think he must have been trolling him. He must have been trolling him.
That's actually one thing that I find really interesting is that because you often have mechanics. A big one was the Alistair combo.
Yeah.
So that wasn't originally in the game. Like you could do it, but no one realized it.
No.
And it was only after people clicked onto it. Another big one. It's been around for a while now. But when Tahm Kench was released, people didn't realize that if you ult and someone clicks on you, like Tahm Kench has to be out of combat, but the person who goes into him doesn't. So there's a lot of situations where, like, someone will be getting jumped on with an enemy team. Tahm Kench starts his ult channel. And then they just go, whoop, and grab his hand and they're out. And it was pretty crazy when we started seeing it, but it's fairly standard now. But it's quite cool how that mechanic wasn't originally picked up by anyone. And then someone went, hey, wait, you can do this. And then suddenly it's become very standard as part of his kit.
I do want to point out the CS difference now between Inax and Matty. We're looking at like 40 CS difference between the two of them. This has not been a great laning phase for Inax and Kasing.
No, not at all. Unfortunately, he's not in that front-fancy Sona, so you don't have as much of an excuse.
He does not, and you can see Dan actually sitting on the bottom side of the map here, waiting for his opportunity. I think even Magic Felix has got the package. They may be going for a 4-man dive here. Looks like the case.
Are a bit cautious about it. They know
Kasing
has a stopwatch, has cleanse and heal. It'd be a hard dive to go for, but they're applying the pressure, and Dan should be able to take this blue away for free.
He's going to get the pressure on the bottom side of the map. I don't really know what Taxa and XL have been doing.
I think they are looking for a dive in a Shikari. This tower's low. If he goes down, they will get it, but they've been spotted in a ward. Magic Felix could move up, but he's opted not to. Shikari probably going to go down here.
There's no way he gets the kill onto Sendo. They lock him up. Sendo gets the kill, and they are even going to get the turret plating from the back of this as well. They don't have the minion wave to work with, however.
Crucially, though, Shikari used his ult to clear out the wave, and that's another change. That's not something that people realize. The change that came quite a while ago is that you can ult and kill the minions. So that's a decision he went to. They saw them come in. They knew Shikari was dead. All he did was clear out the wave, and that bought a lot of time. Because now Sendo, yes, he's getting a tower here, but he could have gotten it, 20 seconds ago.
And they might have been able to head back down to bot with Taxa and Exile and maybe contest the Dragon. Maybe not, but, like you said, that is at least 30 seconds bought just by using that ultimate there from Shikari.
Yeah, so good moves from him, and this is one of the strengths of Shikari is that he knows he will bite the bullet for his team. He will go, right, okay, I'm dead here. What am I going to do so that my team is in the best position possible? And he's never really a greedy player. He always plays to facilitate his teammates, so props to him. In a bad situation, but finds a silver lining.
Finds a silver lining. We like silver linings here at the UKLC. Inax and Kasing still trailing almost 50 CS, down to Matty and Inax, or rather Matty and Targamas. Ah, Dan, I wondered where he was going. He's gone to refresh our water supply. What a good guy. I thought maybe he had an emergency or something, but actually he just took his headset off, walked over and got some more water.
Yeah, I felt like I needed a drink. My throat was getting a bit dry. A lot of talking we've been having about this game. A lot to unpackage.
And the 1-3-1 has started now. You can see Exile now in the bottom side of the map, and you've transferred Inax and Kasing to the middle. Kasing is significantly behind, really, in terms of items, though. You can see, sorry, rather, Inax is significantly behind in terms of items. You can see it. He's, basically 3/4 of a Zeal-based item down because of that CS advantage that Matty has got.
He does have the Berserker Greaves, so...
yeah, but there is the dagger there. I mean, the combine cost is non-existent, right?
He's definitely behind compared to Matty, but right now, he's not here to do a ton of damage. He's just at a wave clip, but Magifelix has a package here.
Magifelix has got a package, and Exile does not get the knocker. They're going to go straight onto Exile. Has he got the wind wall for the right situation? Maybe this is an overcommit from Dan. We still have the ultimate from Taxa. We're waiting for him to go in. The teleport coming through from Shikari, but the knockup is there onto Kasing. Cleanse instantly flashed out. Shikari cannot get there. A wasted teleport as Kasing actually forced to use. Will end up going down, but it is a teleport for a single kill with nothing else off the back of it right now.
Did Magifelix have the package there, or was I trolling? I thought he had it.
I thought he had the package. Maybe
I think it might have just timed out just as he went in.
That's a teleport down now. Sendo could obviously not join as he did not have teleport himself. But that was just a teleport for a kill.
Yeah. And the thing is, the dragon isn't up right now. When the next dragon is available, which you may have clocked is an Infernal, Sendo will have his TP, and they might well look for that fight. And what it's going to mean is that Shikari is going to have to float between his lane and bot. So you often see this from top laners when they don't have TP, is they'll shove the wave and then they'll start to walk down towards the objective. But the thing is, that means Sendo could potentially get a lot of alone time with that tower, but they don't want to give over an Infernal Dragon for free. They want to contest it, but they kind of need the cannon to be there to have a good 5v5.
You can see, Sendo's almost untouchable now. He's got a lot of magic resist, a lot of armor built up as well, and having that sheen on top. But you can see Shikari, though, does pop that ultimate. Dan is now on the side of things, but look how much damage Shikari is just taking, and Sendo walks away.
Yeah, you take that as Sendo. Both ults traded, but a lot more sustain in the back of Sendo's pocket. And Kennen, you can still split push as an Nasus without your ult. Kennen can't teamfight with how it is.
No.
You are useless in that regard.
Tax is now pushing with Exile on the bottom side of the map here versus Matty and Targamas. And actually no one on the bottom side of the map to defend this. There's no teleport from Shikari.
This is the problem, is that Fnatic's comp is so good in a 5v5.
Yeah.
But Exile just aren't giving them the time of day. They have the lead, they have the pressure advantage, they've taken 2 towers, and now they are deciding where people go, and they want everyone split.
They've got a little gold advantage. It's not a huge one. It's about 2,200 gold at this point in time. So Exile are working with a minor gold advantage going in to the 20-minute mark. They are going to eventually respond to the 1-3-1, but they're going to... Oh, that's a great use of the ultimate there from Kasing to pick up another tower for Exile.
Yeah, and the thing is that Fnatic don't have the time to react mid. They will try and push it in return, but already Exile are moving back to try and cover that mid lane tower. So they get another one. That's 3 down already. A great start to the mid game. And with 1 minute on that Infernal Dragon, they're looking in a pretty good position to take it. Because right now, Shikari, no TP on the complete other side of the map. And Sendo will head up to meet him. But that's going to be the crucial difference, is that if a fight starts, Sendo will be able to TP in. assuming Shikari isn't able to stun him and stop it. And that's why Shikari has to float between the lanes if he wants to stand a chance of getting there.
And Sendo has now finished up his Spirit Visage too, so he's going to have extra healing coming through. So it's going to be even more difficult for an AP Kennen to even make a scratch. And you're right, you can see exactly that Shikari is very happy to give up pressure on the top side of the map to float down towards this Infernal Dragon spawn. And
that means all XL have to do is stop Fnatic from taking it, because it buys time for Sendo to hammer away that tower. He's going to recall here to get some more wards because he does have that TP. So we'll be able to come back very quickly. And that does give space for Fnatic to get control of this dragon area. But in the meantime, Sendo is just having his way with this tower. And that is the issue with not having the TP on Shikari. You have no one to answer this, but they will start up the dragon. This is what Fnatic have to do. They have to start up the dragon as soon as possible.
I don't even think XL are going to try and contest it.
No, I think they say, look, the Infernal Dragon's not really conductive to our win conditions. We're not going to win a 5v5 anyway, unless we find a really great one. We're just looking to split push. And it does mean that Fnatic now have all three of those dragons, but XL just aren't phased. Next one is an Infernal as well, which probably isn't good for XL because ideally you want it to be a low impact Drake. But you know, they've really picked up on this gold lead. They're 3.5k ahead, and a big part of it has been this well-coordinated 1-3-1, which we said that comp really plays into.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case. That gold gap is still there between Inax and Matty, by the way, with Matty having that 50 CS differential.
Oh, and just as you said that, he picked up a bounty.
Oof. He picked... Oh, it's
gone.
And it's gone. Oh, there he's back.
I like how we're casting the bounty. Shikari actually looking for XL here, but...
XL's not going to overcommit.
Yeah, and Shikari's solo.
Ooh, XL!
Oh, no, he's not. He's got a team!
And he's dead.
I mean,
XL had flash as well, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't think there was much you can do. Once you've got that Kennen passive stacked up, the fact he has flash as well, nothing you can do. And this is the power of, you know, Kennen and Sivir. So much engage potential. But unfortunately, that is the ideal thing you want to do against 5 members of XL. All they're finding the opportunity to do is punish these split pushers. And so far, they've only been able to punish the Yasuo, who's 1-3-1. But Sendo, he's just farming away, stacking up.
Very happy to just take those waves, push in, take those waves, push in. Crucially, Shikari will have teleport back up soon, and he is on the bottom side of the map. So that is something that is a positive for Fnatic here, especially with the Baron being the next objective that most of these teams are going to be turning their eyes to. But look how far in terms of items Matty is ahead of Inax.
I think Inax should be able to pick up his item here.
Yeah, he'll get his Zeal item, I'm sure.
I assume he'd go towards the Runans to help with this wave clear. I mean, it's a good item on Jinx anyway. Yeah, it does pick that up. So going to help even more with that wave clear. But again, the carries on Fnatic are in a really good position here. Magifelix hasn't quite finished his second, but they are very expensive items. Yes,
Magifelix is obviously working with Infinity Edge and Triforce's his 2-item spike. They're some of the most expensive items in the game.
Which is interesting, because I've seen a few different build paths come out from Corki. Some people go for Triforce Rapid Fire Cannon for a lot of attack speed based, you know, sustained damage. Some people go for maybe like a BF pickaxe, then Rapid Fire. Magifelix is very much Triforce IE with the new IE, and if he crits, oh, does it hit?
Yeah, it's an expensive build point to get to, but once you get there, it really does the work.
Yeah.
This matchup now between Kennen and Sendu. You can see now it's really just tickling each other. I mean, at this point, Sendo's E does nothing, and Shikari can't really damage the Nasus effectively. So you are just looking at them kind of tickle each other back and forth on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, crucially, the Sendo does have no mana right now, so we'll have to recall. I think he might have enough for his Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yes, he should be.
Which does offer a bit. If a team fight is called by Fnatic, he is going to be quite tanky, hard to take down, because yes, there's a lot of damage coming out from Magifelix and Matty, but they are still going to take a long time to cut through the Nasus at this point. And he just picked up a Negatron Cloak as well, so this is going to be a very tanky Nasus. And the thing is, that's a perfect situation against the Kennen, because you want to get to the point where you just ignore Kennen. You just kill the towers and ignore him, and then in the team fight, all you need to do is be a brick wall. Because honestly, if it's similar to Cho'Gath, not as potent in team fights, but the whole sense that you're basically a beefy brick wall, and then as soon as you get close enough to flash Q someone, you look for it. It's the same as Cho'Gath's flashy. It's not as effective, but you know.
But you can wither the AD carry as well, you know, like that can.
That's true.
That can be a way.
But then again, Cho'Gath can knock up the AD carries. So
yeah.
Cho'Gath is.
You can also reduce the resistances of the carries.
True. I would definitely say Cho'Gath in every way is just
better
yeah.
in
team fight specifically than the Nasus, but the Nasus will fill a similar role. But crucially, the Nasus, he offers this side lane pressure, and that's what Fnatic are really concerned about, this 1v1, 1v1 threat.
I mean, XL don't have to fight if they don't want to, as long as they can just clear waves and keep pressure mid. I mean, Fnatic have to full-on commit to a Baron if they want to try and get XL to fight their fight.
Infernal Dragon up to 30 seconds, and it looks like XL aren't willing to give another one over for free. Package on MagiFelix. He always times he's right, and this is when you want one.
This is a little bit of a risky situation for XL to find a fight in. Remember, there's no knock-up for XL. He has to be so careful about approaching these team fights because he doesn't really have the benefit of like a Gragas ultimate or anything like that.
That's actually huge. The windmill's down.
Oh, they're trying to catch out Sendo here. He's now going to be the target. He might just be able to flash over the wall. Nope.
He's going to get caught out, and that's the thing with the Civic composition. You press R, you run them down, you take them out, and now they will get that Infernal Dragon, and there's no real response for XL. And this definitely means you don't want to team fight this Fnatic composition. Double Infernal on top of the strengths they already have. XL, they're going to have to go back to that 1-3-1, but the problem is Fnatic might well start to look towards Baron sometime soon. They have double Infernal, they have that Mountain. It's going to make it a very fast Baron.
I'm a little bit concerned with the way that XL played that particular engage. I mean, they let Sendu split off from the team by himself with a Corki package.
Yeah.
You know, fully visible on MagiFelix.
And a Sivir ult.
Yeah, and a Sivir ultimate. I mean, they then isolated themselves by getting zoned out by the rest of the Fnatic composition, and Sendo put himself well and truly in the firing line.
The only way that XL really come back is in long fights.
Yeah.
If the fight is long, the Sivir ult times out, the Kennen doesn't get the effectiveness, and Jinx starts to get resets, that's when you can start to come back into the team fight. But in those short, snappy, explosive team fights, Fnatic are so much better on the back of the Sivir Kennen. And now they're going to start getting control of this Baron area because that's what they want. They want to get a snappy engage where they catch someone out and take them out. Sivir ult's coming up soon, so they're going to start things up. And XL, they're going to have to TP if they want to contest this.
They have to contest this right now. They cannot let it go, although Sendo doesn't look like he's in any position to do so. There's a Sivir ultimate popped onto XL. Redemption's coming through to try and keep him alive. He has to flash over the wall here. Doesn't have that windmill as MagiFelix jumps over too. And
that is the strength of the composition. So easy to execute, so easy to turn. They take out the Yasuo. They're still going to be a bit cautious about the Baron because Tax is there, but it looks like they're starting it back up. They want to stop the split push threat from Sendo. Taxa, he has to make a miracle steal here if he wants to keep his team in the game.
Yeah, and also Shikari does have that potential to try and catch out Inax as he's trying to do as MagiFelix jumps over. That's an immediate flash coming out from Shikari. Exhaust comes through. Taxa jumps over. He doesn't get it. The smite goes over to Dan. But it is going to be a tower traded. It's not a great trade, but it is something. And XL now have got to deal with a Baron on Fnatic.
That was such a risky play from Fnatic. They didn't get the CC on Taxa. They kept hitting the Baron, and it came down to a 50-50, and Dan managed to perform. So props to him for landing that, but that could have gone drastically in the wrong direction. They make the play, though. They find it. And now Fnatic have the Baron, and that's going to stop all this 1-3-1 pressure from XL from really coming to anything.
Yeah, unless they can find like the 1v1 potential. But again, XL's had a pretty rough game here.
It just makes it so much harder to split when you have those Baron buffs.
And again, this Yasuo doesn't really have any synergy with this team. It's really difficult for him to actually get a knock-up and find...
And the problem with the Yasuo is he prefers slow fights. I mean, when you don't have any setup, you prefer a longer fight where you can get the tornado set up. The same with the Jinx. Actually, might...
Oh, we can see Sendo on the front here. Big, beefy tank, like you said. The wall comes out. That's a knock-up onto Targamas, but no commit, of course, coming out from Exile. And in the meantime, MagiFelix is still just split pushing in that top side of the map. And Shikari now. Oh, it's a big ultimate there from Taxa. Can they get anything from it? Jinx ultimate is available, I think. He's got that ready coming up soon.
He'll give the reset.
He'll get the reset. One. He's got the red buff. He's got the red studs, and he's got the reset. There's the ultimate coming through. He doesn't get a lot of damage, though.
Oh, he doesn't find it. And crucially, they just get one kill off the back of that. Fnatic just managed to get away, but they count themselves lucky. But XL finding some life and able to shut down this Baron push.
Yeah, they do shut down the Baron push. They lose one turret for it, but you can see Jinx starting to come online with her range in these team fights. That is a worry that I think Fnatic have got here.
That's the thing. If Fnatic botch the engage in the team fights, if they don't win the fight in the first, 10, 15 seconds, they will start to lose it. Because Jinx will ramp up, she'll get excited. Yasuo will find time to make use of his ultimate.
Yeah.
And that's where things start to get tricky. You need to win it off that first Sivir ult and Kennen ult. And you saw they've done it many times. They picked up XL, works great. They picked up Kasing, works great. They picked up Sendo. But if they don't get that first initial kill, they will start to struggle as the team fights get longer and longer.
Inax now starting to take a bit of jungle farm away. He needs to catch up to Matty in terms of items too. Although late game Jinx is scary in different ways, I think, to a late game Sivir. It really depends on the style of the team fight that you're playing.
Yeah.
But the range of Jinx is always something that you're going to worry about.
Like I said, when the team fight starts to get extended, when people are on low HP and you start to back away, Jinx is very threatening. The threatening thing with Sivir is that she has so much straight up burst with that auto attack reset and the Boomerang Blade. She can cut through a squishy target very fast, and then even tankier targets, the Ricochet does so much to a whole team. But crucially, the longer fights, Jinx will come out ahead. And it's the same with the Corki. Corki comes in with one big auto that can literally win a team fight. But if his Valkyrie's down, he's very vulnerable. His sustained damage isn't the highest. He's more about those bursty auto attacks.
You can see now everybody grouping up on the bottom side here for Fnatic. They have still got that Baron buff for a short period of time, and they're going to get another turret for their pressure here. Generated a small gold lead at this stage in the game. Exile's had a really rough game here. He's now actually go for a Negatron cloak.
He's 3 levels down on Magifelix.
Yeah, Magifelix is level 17, which is actually just pretty disgusting if you ask me.
It's the way he farms, and this is why he's so confident in this Corki, because Corki scales so well, and he's so confident he won't get punished in the early levels. And once he gets to this point, he is just such an absolute monster, and it feels like one big auto from the Corki will shred anyone on the side of XL.
Shikari's going to try and stop him. The teleport does come through, and that's a wasted ultimate actually from Shikari. Again, Fnatic so quick to try and punish this split push coming out from XL. He could have got
it. It would have had to take potentially his flash, but definitely an earlier ult. I feel like if you're going to commit the ult, you commit it instantly. But I don't think he read that Sendo was going for the TP. He does get out, essentially getting away with murder.
But they have a very limited time period where this is useful. I mean, Fnatic can do that and burn a TP from Sendo and feel okay about it because they've got to wait for a reset of a Kennen ultimate, not wait for a reset of a TP.
It's a long time, yeah, and crucially, Baron up in a minute 50. Kennen ult will be available again then.
And XL don't even want a team fight. They don't want to. They're not about that team fight life, really.
I think the situation you look for is you let Fnatic stop the Baron.
Yeah.
And if they're grouped, okay, the issue that XL keep having is they keep looking for flanks. It just means that Fnatic can pounce on a single member. Yeah. If they're all grouped and Fnatic try to run through your team and they try and go through the front line and the wind wall, that's where XL could come out ahead. If they kite back, they might be able to find a good team fight. But them splitting just falls apart every time.
Inax is starting to build up towards a bloodthirst now, which is going to be huge for him in teamfight situations.
And crucially, Matty has got 100% crit, got that rapid fire cannon, so has a lot of long range burst, and it just means so much reliable damage. And if you go auto, and then use your Ricochet to auto reset, then auto again, you can hit someone for 800, almost 1,000 damage. And that's not even including your Boomerang Blade. It's so devastating.
Sendo actually needs to rotate here, I think, unless XL are just going to try and ward Fnatic away from these fights, because you can see that Kennen has started to make a move.
Kennen has TP. He's under no pressure to go now. He just needs to clear out the wave, not die to Sendo.
I mean, he can't get stopped. He can't actually get stopped. His TP is...
Could take a lot of damage.
Oh, check again. There's another rotation coming out. I think they've actually popped the ultimate here onto Sendo, and this is going to be a very, very tough ask for him to escape from this situation. Now, Matty does spell shield the Wither, but here comes Kasing. Rotates around with Inax. That's a really nice response coming out from XL. They are maybe looking to collapse here onto Matty. He does have Wither coming up soon, but I think they're just going to say we escaped from this situation unscarred, and that's okay.
Yeah, you take it. Unfortunately, the CDR is pretty high on Sivir with that Essence Reaver, so the ult is going to be down for too long. But Baron's just spawned. Dan and Magifelix running straight over there to secure the vision control, ensure they still have it. Will he catch that ward around the side of the pit? No, I don't think he will. And they're going to start it up. XL have to expect this.
They are trying to get an eye on this. There is that teleport coming out from Shikari too if they need it. They got it. It's done. It's just done.
That was so fast.
Oh, we didn't even see it happen.
With a double Mountain, double Infernal, it goes down so quickly. And XL essentially just caught sleeping. They went for the play bot lane to support their top laner. They end up losing out massively for it. And now Magifelix, level 18. Matty, level 16. These carries are so strong. And like I said, XL, they need such a long team fight before Jinx can start to pull away.
Starting to generate, I mean, she's caught up to CS to Matty. Let's be completely fair to Inax here. He has generated a huge CS differential and overcome that 50 CS differential that he had earlier on. So he's starting to work up towards his late game goals. He'll have that Bloodthirster.
Has 4 items, so, you know, is not too far behind. But my concern is just the impact that the Corki Sivir are going to have in a team fight. The Yasuo just feels like not a massive factor. He's not really a threat to the backline. And he's too short range to really sit there and just deal damage to the front line of Fnatic.
Actually, they're giving over all of the CS to Inax right now. They really are putting the eggs in the Inax Jinx basket, which we've seen him do before. I mean, Inax is, if you're going to give one player on XL the big boy keys to the team fight, it's probably Inax, because he can, you know, single-handedly win you them in the right scenarios.
Absolutely. Has been a very solid performer when he gets the potential to carry, but remember, Fnatic have to win this game to stand any chance of winning the UKLC and getting to EU Masters. They are in the advantage now, but if XL loses, they still have another game to go to.
What do you make of XL's vision control? Because I've actually think across this series it's been really poor. I've not been impressed with XL's vision control throughout this series.
In game one, they just sort of forced without being super reliant on vision. In this game, it feels like Fnatic have always had the control. And now MagiFelix, he has a package. You can't really punish him.
You can't really punish him, and he might even just get a free turret here. Actually, no damage coming out from Inax in that scenario, and Taxis got a lot in return.
The Bloodthirsty just does so much. Like, it basically negates that first auto from Jinx, but that wasn't a crit there for MagiFelix, and it did so much. If MagiFelix crits, he really just absolutely ruins anyone.
And they might even, they took that inhibitor so low, the Elder Dragon is about to spawn, and XL do have to respond to this.
There's no vision. They will throw down the scrying orb, so they know they've started, but there's no vision for them to go over. Now, Sendo, he's popped out, he's
Shikari on the sidelines. Inax is going to be completely alone, and he is down. They walked straight into the trap. They lose the Elder Dragon. The attempted flank from Taxa and Kasing was useless, and now XL find themselves in a position where Fnatic are surely going to be bearing down on their base with very little that XL could do to stop this.
They put all the gold in their carry, and he got caught out. Crucially, Kasing ulted Taxa in to go for a steal, but it meant Inax got caught out, and now Fnatic, you have to think they're going to look to end here. MagiFelix so strong, just tearing down an Exile.
XL's Yasuo has been absolutely non-existent in this game. They're going to push on to Taxa, who stopwatches immediately, and there goes the base. XL have lost to Fnatic in the second game of this series, and now we have a real steamer of a Game 3 on our hands.
Neither of these teams pulling punches. It felt like Fnatic, they kept the control in that game. MagiFelix was huge there, and their composition easy to execute, and they did it right. And they come out, they equalized the series at 1-1, which will update just now, just as I was saying it. So one more game between these two, and remember, we can only have one winner. We can only have one of these teams go through to the finals. The other one is at a EU Masters, can't win the first season of the UKLC, and considering both these teams came in with such expectations, it's got to be a huge hit. So I don't think any of them wants to give it up.
I feel like one of the major factors that's been a problem for XL in all of their games has been lacking in vision control. I mean, Fnatic have been really good at clearing, but XL are not doing a good job of replenishing that vision control. Because so many times, Sendo and XL have been in the side lane with no vision control. They get caught out on a rotation, and then they lose something for it. And that's slowly chipping away at Fnatic, XL's lead that they had in that game, because they attempted 1-3-1 every time that Fnatic rotated. They were caught completely unawares.
And this is the thing as well. This might be a big testament, is that one of the crucial things about playing as a support is knowing where the enemy plays wards. And so crucially, I mean, it's on the opposite side of the map, so it's not going to take that much stock. Because Targomas has been watching everywhere XL has been placing wards for setup. So they sort of understand the common spots you like to go for, and it becomes a habit. You tend towards similar spots because you feel good about them, or it's practice, you're used to it. But it's definitely a downfall if they constantly get swept out, and it felt like Fnatic definitely had the control in that regard. And going into Game 3, it'll be interesting to see if they keep Targomas in. I think he had a solid game, but it might be that they've done the same thing where Prosphere's been watching this game, and they bring him in again, or they might just feel like Targomas won this one, he'll go through for this third one. But, you know, XL, now behind in terms of momentum, I think their comp was harder to execute that game, and it's been both times the easy to execute composition has won out.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though Inax was scaling up in that game, the 100% crit Sivir came through, the flanks from Shikari were excellent once more. And now we find ourselves heading towards a Game 3, which is going to be spicy, because remember, both of these teams were predicted to take both the EU Masters spots at the start of the UKLC. We're now in a situation where Diabolus have got one confirmed, and only one of these teams can go for the shot at getting that top place EU Masters spot group stage play-ins for winning the playoffs, which is pretty huge. Now, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joining ourselves and you for the final game of this series. And we've got another live-ish performance coming out from our wonderful, wonderful Twitch musicians.